because the Nazis are, genuinely are about as close to evil as the human race is ever likely to get.
The American Civil War is a damn sight more grey than, Nazi things, or maybe that's the point.
Scattered groups of individuals who are bringing Nazi ideals back to the world, but in general, we have been fighting against race. I've got to be honest, because I know that it's not just Nazis who watch this stuff. I know also that my friends watch this stuff.
Is that there are actual racists and actual sexists and actual fucking Nazis. Right? There are very few genuine devil worshippers.
Channel. If when that person had said, hey, can you do a hit piece on Nazis in Newcastle, I had just said, no. Right? Yes, the Nazis were very bad to Jews, but it wasn't like they were a fucking picnic to everybody else. If I could send the Nazis away from the stuff that kind of matters to me, that would be nice.
He didn't exactly think that the Nazis were going to turn up and say, yeah, we're nuking the planet now because of you. He would have been in line and he would have liked to have Nazis in England. So, there is some kind of...
And the fucking Ku Klux Klan and, Nazis and bigots are fucking having a chance to try and put their cases across, because how she takes on the Nazis and sort of creates her own little well, no, not her own little. Actually, delete it for me, because YouTube will be like, all those videos where the Nazis were saying all these horrible things about how you should...
A Jew being sacrificed by the Nazis. Because the Romans are this great fucking military dictatorship taking over the world.
They are, in fact, one of the more vocal Nazis, and they're not getting the protections that Donald Trump is. Attracted my Nazi stalkers towards these vulnerable people. Fucking bugs, because they're a bunch of disgusting right-wing Nazi vermin. So, they speak in code. They speak in code, and they think that you don't know how many of them are serious when they say when they make Nazi salutes, and it's shit. For writing fiction, presenting a trans cure, and I am hated by Nazis for being critical of Trump. We will exterminate the Jewish people! The Nazi regime has fallen, and Israel stands.
ISIS are more like the communists than the fucking Nazis, because the communists...
2,000 Nazis who hate me, that's it. The Nazis pulled off the most horrific and tremendous coup in the history of the world. Every fucking political spectrum, Nazis believe that they're the victims. Bloody misogynistic gamersgaters believe that they're... Because I am stalked by Nazis, I talk about news items a lot. Because I am stalked by Nazis,
the Nazis, and it would be cool, and I love how doomed it is, and the fact
and so I didn't notice that the Nazis were staging a Nuremberg rally on my fucking videos because that I am in this war against the alt-right and the Nazis, whether I like it or not. I think it's time I started pulling my... I survived being called transphobic. I survived having Nazis send spiders to my house. With regards to, like, you know, Trump and you know, basically Trump's Nazis, right? That with Trump's Nazis and with Brexit essentially driving, which of course the moment I released it, I just knew, like, the Nazis have had a field day of just like, ugh! It doesn't work because you can't educate Nazis, right? You can't. There is no debating. Get it when it comes to, like, Nazis. Like, guys, the Nazis tried to take over the world, right? Yes, the Nazis were very bad to Jews. Core of the alt-right, the actual core of the Nazi movement within the alt-right is very tiny. It's a very tiny group of mad motherfuckers. Is kind of the rallying call. Hey, Nazis, go over here. This is the kind of stuff I didn't know because any stupid stories. Because honestly, who would ever believe that Nazis were secretly all behind American politics all along? But you know what? Now
She's the straw feminist who's just basically a Nazi going like, ah yes, I will be queen of everyone.
Struggle with the idea that, you know, neo-Nazis would necessarily be so terribly anti that kind of thing. I mean, maybe, you know, even evil. I am shat upon by Nazis who hate me because I am not one of them. Equally, I am shat upon by trans people because all of the trolls and the Nazis, I survived it all. To be so much more violent than the white people, even if you are that racist, that overtly Naziist, fucking eugenics, like a genuine National Socialist Nazi who genuinely thinks Jews should be exterminated, and a joker who is saying that they're the world and be emperor, but you know, we're totally here just to rescue you. And that's exactly what, you know, the Nazis did. You know, when they seized communism as weapons against the Nazis and against the Japanese and stuff. So you could have it the nation where we have gone full Godwin, where there are Nazis fucking everywhere, where it is boring, where it is not news that there are Nazis. Basically just Nazi. So they've just become Nazis, right? And it's like, you know, here we have the American Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan and endorsing in many ways the Logicios. They're the communists. They're the Nazis. They're the, you know, they're the American conservative leader who fought against the Nazis. Winston Churchill killed the guy who maybe could have cleared this shit up. But equally, all these alt-right Nazis who have been saying, "Oh yes, come brother, come join us because you're white." No, you fucking... I do not give a shit about fucking fascist Nazi scumbag shitheads. But here's the thing. Politics... And at the same time, if you're also, like, stalked by Nazis. Stalked by Nazis. So I have to...
With the human Daleks, with the Nazis. You want... I mean, I would love to see a series of John Smith versus the Nazis.
Donald Trump, Stephen Bannon, they ain't winning this. The Nazis ain't winning this. Richard Spencer, he ain't fucking winning. Under no sort of circumstance is saying, hey bro, you're a Nazi, a good thing. And I don't think that's my cacophony speaking. I've seen plenty of fucking evidence to suggest why people would go, huh, right, you're Nazis, and move on with their lives. You know, the era of black and white heroes and villains, it's all ridiculous. There's Nazis will never exist. No one will ever be that stupid again. What do you... And these people like to joke about, oh, well, would you like to put Nazis on the register then? Yeah, we do. We put them in.
Daleks play on, well, they're Nazis, you know. They're alien Nazis, and they play on our fears of what's evil.
Had a backlash, you know, charge me as problematic, and having Nazis attack me at the same time. Maybe I'm in a, you know... And bear in mind, before I say this, I know I am addressing a load of Nazis who ritualistically dislike... Asshole I am! I am making money off the fact that Nazis hate me because I have a potato face and a strange... I am angry at the alt-right. I am angry at the Nazis. I am angry at the conservatives. I am angry at a world gone mad. Because every time I insult Trump, every time I insult Nazis, I get another 1,000 views, right? Every time is, yeah, that is Nazis in Newcastle. A video, instantly, that I made because people requested it, including in the world, because basically, at a certain point, you understand Nazis are bad! At a certain point, I make one video, say, you know what, I'm not going to make a video talking about Nazis in Newcastle, because you know what, Nazis are boring. You might be the greatest Nazi on the face of the fucking earth. You might be, sometimes you can't, and sometimes you just gotta kill Nazis. But at the end of the day, unless you are literally genocidal Nazis, you want to make peace with the people. You know, American foreign policy was fought by literal Nazis, and the whole war on terror was literally Nazis. So basically, Donald Trump isn't a Nazi coup, he's a fucking communist coup. Against the alt-right and the Nazis until the alt-right and the Nazis literally start gassing people, literally start invading other... And make no mistake, you Nazi morons, it is you who will lose in the end. But these are Nazis. These are genocidal individuals who pose a clear and present danger of Nazis. And I talked with these Nazis of Notsington. Repeatedly, the Cold War, that such a country is ruled by actual genocidal Nazis. Like, that happened. That's happening. Wizard Nazis. And now I am basically leading a band of wizard Nazis. Wizard in the terms of, the me. That's what I believe in. Yeah! Big fucking whoop! I've been stalked by Nazis! They have sent shit to my house. They have scared my family. T-shirt, doesn't it? The Nazis have the White House. Yeah, a world in which Nazis have the White House kind of does make you think that maybe... again, that's a video where it's like, people want me to talk about Nazis in Newcastle, but you know what, I'm just... the Jews being proud to have a Nazi because this time the Nazi is persecuting their enemies instead of
Stalinist Russia and Nazi Germany look kind of tame. And we're not doing anything about them.
I called it Nazis in Newcastle, and it had my great big potato face on it, so all of the fucking Nazis went to that video and they said, oh my god! Well, this is a case of the Nazis having nukes. So yeah, people are scared. People are scared and they are angry, and horrible shit is a good idea. And what happens when you pretend to be a Nazi is that a genuine Nazi chopping people's heads off or putting bullets in their brains because they are alt-right anti-Semitic Nazi fuckos. Yeah, I'm not having it. We're not doing the Nazi thing. No, we're not. And it's like she kind of just looks back at the end and just, it's like fucking Nazi Germany. Everyone is just attacking people for being Nazis. Oh my god, no, the humanity. And suddenly I'm having to have the police on speed dial in case Nazis turn up at my door. These fucking Nazis, these anti-Semitic assholes need to be fucking punished. No more fucking talk of Zionist conspiracy. I'm screaming into where all the Nazis are. But at the same time, you know, fundamentally, I am recording. When the Nazis are annoyed at me, I make money. When feminists and trans people are annoyed at me in America and Britain, aren't against slavery in the West, but those are called Nazis. Those are called racists, and they get bullets in their Nazi morons. Nazi fucking morons. And me, the bigger fucking moron for not noticing the Nazis. To joke on Twitter about how, hey bro, aren't you really a Nazi? And like, I'm gonna, you know, assume I'm gonna sit down and talk with the other side, even if we have given them a bloody nose first. Because otherwise, we are the Nazis, and we are just advocating genocide. That are just like, you know, fascistic Nazi stuff, and we're gonna lean to we're gonna stupid and who fucking cares about Nazis? They're not gonna be significant in 2016. Nazis are powerless. They're from school. Like, you or everybody should fucking know that Nazis are fucking bad. We have gone beyond Godwin. We have gone beyond the Nazis at this point. I mean, not unique, but I have this perspective of, like, you know, Nazis on the one hand, but then feminists terrifying the crap out of me on the other hand. YouTube decides, hey dude, you've got 2,000 Nazi followers. You're a Nazi! We're gonna make sure the nation's torture chamber. I didn't want to pick a fight with a bunch of Nazis. They picked a fight with me, and they are not letting it. Socialism and communism on the one hand, and, you know, well, Nazism and Stalinism on the other hand. You know, you don't have Clinton, but like, she's just a Tory, whereas Trump is a child rapist, Nazi, Holocaust, literally Hitler kind of person. I disagree with as innately evil. That I look upon the world as good people are Nazis. I don't. It's just
the object to be chased and rescued. But it's realistic. It's Nazis, and they're chasing after it, and
who think, oh, isn't it so funny to do a Nazi salute and annoy the left? We outnumber you. I'm someone who happens to have people message me on Steam claiming that they are Nazis and National Socialists, and who, about 3/4 of an hour describing, right? Even if you are a Nazi who voted for Trump because you want him to be Hitler, hampered somewhat by the fact that basically there are genuinely a minority of actual Nazis, and there are a greater, but still a minority.
If the Nazis are the first wave, they're a species, or what? If they were a species, they.
So, because Nazis are bad, and they are taking over the world, and it is November the 5th, so even if Nazis is my kind of standard point of view now, so I've got my first universal credits. Parents getting divorced, moving house, and sort of I am being stalked by Nazi cultists. The far right to the alt-right, the Nazis, fascist bastards, genocide fans, all of them are basically imagining some sort of Nazi taking that clip out of context of me going, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong, you're wrong, and going, look at him, look. Right now, America is doing a pretty good darn impression of the fucking Nazis. So I don't goddamn blame any poor stupid fucker. Those people genuinely think that they're like fighting the Nazis or something. They think ISIS are this cancerous plague. The feminists, because spoilers, Nazis, but the feminists win this, right? Like, you may think that you're big and powerful and awful lot of casualties on both sides. But the moment that a Nazi, that a member of the alt-right isn't the Second World War against the Nazis, it isn't the Cold War between America and Russia. I have a platform that the right wing seem to love. So right wingers, racist, Nazis, lend me your fucking ears as I tell you how your beliefs are full of this stuff. But on the spectrum of Nazis, he's not so bad, right? And like, maybe Donald Trump may be
flagrant fucking warmonger because he's fighting the cocking Nazis.
At the moment in America, and you know who's perpetrating it? White men, neo-Nazis. White men, white Christians, white neo-Nazis going off. And whilst they were telling people to fuck off, the Nazis were saying, hey, brothers, come to, well, fucking Trump, Biden is in support of the Nazis. No, they are calling out that, hey, super extreme radical feminists out there. But they aren't feminazis, okay? Okay, because, here's the thing. Trump may not actually be a Hitlerian Nazi founder of a Fourth Reich in America. In Syria and the Middle East to the Nazis, right? Here's the thing about the Nazis. Winston Churchill, a Tory, fought the Nazis. That he will end up instituting policies that make fucking Nazis look goddamn tame. And And I do, honestly, genuinely believe that a Nazi, a genocidal individual, is the... This is why I didn't want to fucking cover the fucking Nazis in Newcastle. Because it's boring. People are dickheads. It's not news. By saying, it's okay, come join our brotherhood, come join the brotherhood of evil Nazis, we'll reign supreme over the news, because they're boring, and those two videos were enough to get me on the Nazi hit list as to be trolled to fucking death.
Angrily. And when you're trapped between the Nazis and the communists, suddenly a deal is a devil, especially if you have 3 more chances to cancel. When you pretend to be a Nazi, is that a genuine Nazi thinks he's found a friend. When you think that you are being... Soviets basically beat the Nazis at being an iron-fisted totalitarian regime, because Hitler's iron-fisted... We murder all the Jews is something that you'd like to happen, because you're Nazis, right? And I realise to some of...
It's just sort of like, you know, she you know, the Nazis invade her village, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, what you're doing in my village, and, you know. It's no great healer. The xenophobic megalomaniacs are the storm now, and they have a new name. Not Nazis, not Daleks. Hail the alt-right. You know, Nazis who watch my channel can fuck off and die. I really don't give a shit. All Nazis are like, yeah, this guy's a fucking Nazi, he's total satire. Yeah, we're gonna watch him, and he's gonna be a total satire of all the fucking... A Nazi rapist. A Nazi rapist who is a pathological liar, a creepy father, and neo-Nazis in America. I mean, this is a guy who is lauded by the American Nazis, by David Duke, the head of the fucking Peter Buddies. You know, like, it's just, no, evil. Just the people who are literally fucking Nazis, and you're just being like, hey, how you doing? You can't do it. The Romans tried. The Nazis tried. It does not work. Pain is so much worse, right? Nothing that the fucking trolls and Nazis and God knows could do to me are worse than... Over time, Nazis just draw more and more barriers, more and more restrictions. Again, Nazis! I can't tell the Nazis! So, and I'm not sort of talking about sort of the, and somehow along the way, criticizing Nazis and molesting monsters has... Maybe get rid of the swastikas. I don't like the swastikas. I'm not a fan of Nazi stuff, so, you know, maybe get rid of those. Who saves us from the really bad Nazis by being a fairly moderate Nazi who is just so keen on presenting a life comfortable with. Racists and Nazis are starting to become chummy with me. Not really nice, that. And I think we're starting to see that. No. You're right. Nazis. This new... Basically what this person wanted was for me to do a video so that his neo-Nazi mates would say, oi, you raped someone, that's not on, we're gonna beat the shit out of you. My advice to the alt-right, to the Nazis, if they wish to avoid a civil war, if they wish to... Guy we were actually fighting. Because you can't call Nazis socialists when they called themselves socialists. Film about the Wannsee conference where the Nazis decided to go about the final solution and genocide. And said he was a fucking good guy. You know, Churchill worked with Stalin and against the Nazis, and he worked with communists, right? But the alt-right, the Nazis, no matter how much they may hate me, no matter how much they may want to, because apparently now Trump is basically a child-raping Nazi, Holocaust, literally Hitler person. And it's like, yeah, they will offer a better path. You know? Even for all the feminazis that are out there, there are feminists who are sex by being a load of anti-Semitic Nazis. I know genuinely anti-Semitic Nazis in there who are just like, well, yeah, I'm a Nazi, but also I'm a person and I don't want to get fucked over. Members of the alt-right can be redeemed and turned against their Nazi allies. Because I know sane people have. Because, just to be absolutely clear, right? Fascists, Nazis, genocide fans, they are your symbol
in a video game about killing Nazis, so why will you not include it in a video game about killing people in the...
But, you know, equally, he could be Nazis. He could genuinely be fucking Hitler. And, hey, guys, if you're a Nazi, that means you're into racial purity and genetic purity. I don't know if you've basically given birth to Donald Trump and what looks like a rise of neo-Nazis in America. I mean, this is a guy who is Lord. Socialism is so horrible because, you know, look at the Nazis, look at Mao, look at Stalin, and it's like, no, that does them all seriously. They can offer me a ready supply of women to tame. Jessica shuddered as a Nazi thought crossed her mind. To mobilize. The left isn't gonna back action against the alt-right and the Nazis until the alt-right and the Nazis. I mean, I know the alt-right aren't actually Nazis, but there are Nazis among the alt-right. Or at least there are people who think it is funny to be Nazis. Message me. I will give no fucks. Right? It will be filed under Nazi trash, and then you will be blocked, never to contact me again.
Shadows in the Glass, where the Sixth Doctor and the Brigadier kind of stop the Nazis, and you know, the Eighth Doctor
of, you know, old virgins, and Nazis in the sense of people who think it is funny to be anti-Semitic, because that seems to be basic. And then, to be honest, like, this was all at a time when kind of Nazis were kind of comical, outdated things. Like, nobody's that stupid. But Steam will helpfully remind you, say, Nazi Cheetah has decided to tell you this thing. And genuinely, World War that suffered under Nazi Germany are now enacting plans not too dissimilar from Nazi Germany. And that's within the... Basically, what is happening is that there is a global war against Nazis going on, and I am effectively, like, I am one of the, you know, benefit from a lot of the privileges of being white. If there were to be some Nazi high command rise to power in Britain, I wasn't going to do a video about Nazis in Newcastle, but I called it Nazis in Newcastle and it had my great big potato face on it. Then America will be in a state of civil war. Once that happens, America will have come out as the Nazis and they will be bringing America. It might not dissolve into bloody civil war and or worse, end up with fucking Nazi alt-right bastard.
Oh, what's that server you're playing on? So yes, Nazi cheaters are friends with me on Steam, and
Christ, it almost sounds like a bloody Doctor Who t-shirt, doesn't it? The Nazis have the White House. Yeah, well, the Second World War was against Nazis, and you have, congratulations, you have gotten your. The Nazis thought their plan of setting up in Jerusalem was a good idea. Like, it was scary when he was inaugurated. It was scary when he proved, oh shit, he is actually a Nazi. At this point, we are at war. Legitimate fucking reason, and that was the Second World War, was the fucking Nazis. No, I suppose the Cold War, because, you know, nuclear enough. They think they can make money off of siding with the actual fucking Nazis. So, you know, there is, like, this small, So, it's fine to fucking pick a fight against the Nazis. For the record, right? Because the Nazis are the example. They are well, it was right to kick their heads. So having a Nazi hate cult and actually regularly making videos again is maybe, I know, I will make it. I will do a Nazi swastika, because, you know, the swastika is the Nazis, and the Nazis are the international evil people. Because it was just like, oh, for God's sake, it's Jesus versus the Nazis, right? And I got sorted into Nazi house. Because I'm a bit naughty that they're claiming that it's my website and they've got fucking Nazi swastikas on there. But at the same time, I weirdly fucking decided I wasn't gonna do something like that, because doing a video on Nazis is boring, because and, you know, obviously I knew that, you know, the Nazis pretty much killed everyone, right? You know. A neo-Nazi alt-right madman who has been stalking my videos for ages can go up to my... You are the Luftwaffe. You are the stormtroopers. You are the Nazis. And what that means is that a whole pile... I called that the final solution. Is partly because I know I'm followed by Nazis, and I wanted to tweak their noses a little. Absolutely need help, because if you don't fucking help them, then the fucking alt-right Nazi trolls are gonna get them and they're gonna radicalize them. The Second World War period, because it's like, you know, Nazis, we're going to face modern Nazis, except we aren't facing... But it also allows for that complexity, because they aren't just Nazis, you know. They aren't just Nazis, they aren't just communists. America was just about giving up on democracy and ready to elect a man who made the Nazis look preferable, because at least they fucking knew what they would, quite rightly, risk them getting locked up as fucking Nazis. Because whilst neoconservatives will talk and insult in the way that we say, you know, grammar Nazi, feminazi, you know, in the future. And of course, I'm being stalked by Nazis. So yeah, I meant the phrase autistic people are the parts of feminism, and those parts of feminism aren't Nazis, they're just like different parts of feminism disagrees with other parts of feminism, who are startlingly close to Nazis to such an extent that basically a trans-exclusive radical feminist. Fuckers over here, come and get us. I mean, as I say, these are nuts. These aren't Nazis. These aren't. So Prof Mo liked National Action's tweet about Nazis in Newcastle, and Augustus Pugin that is like, you know, you even get it when it comes to like Nazis. Like, guys, the Nazis tried to take. Nazis don't stop at Muslims. Nazis don't stop at this definition of different. At this definition of different. All fucking National Socialists, actual goddamn Nazis, right? Because I've got a fucking hate base that is full of horrible, horrible, horrible amoral. Get the left to attack me. I have had Nazis come forth and denounce me. I have had people threaten my families. Understand, while the feminists are insulting and attacking men who question and want to know more, the Nazis are more than glad to have hope, a bit of light, a bit of brightness is in order, and not just Nazis! Even if Nazis is my kind. Heck, I'm making money off the fact that Nazis hate me.
You know, you can make a case where it's just like, well, you know, they're Nazis, they're comic book people. But when it's...
You know, the Nazis? We will exterminate the Jewish people! The Nazi regime has fallen too, because basically the only way it's making any money whatsoever is because Nazis are fucking stupid, and they're like, I hate anything. What I'm saying is, you go further. You know, if you see a random Nazi in the street, you stop him from being able to speak. You stop, you know, fucking Holocaust wasn't enough of a reason to hate Nazis. Now they are sort of personally targeting me because they haven't given up. We have conceded the world to the Nazis because the Nazis are the people going out there, talking to people, offering... Anybody who hasn't been paying attention would go, Nazis, fucking Britain, you're fucking kidding me? And by the way, the reason why Ken Livingston said was totally fair and above board, because they're all Nazis, right? No, it's kind of. I actually feel a little bit like, even if you are someone who voted for him, even if you're a Nazi, which, let's face it, the majority of my audience. I really probably shouldn't have said that to a whole bunch of Nazis who hate me and are stalking me and keep trying to find new ways to fuck with me, but... And so the book details how slowly Nazism starts to simmer. How these people who are involved in this profession begin. The alt-right Nazis, these are people who have been told by people like Milo Biden because a Nazi, well, I don't know if they were a Nazi, they may just be a troll, but whilst our social justice guardians have been keeping the safe spaces safe, the Nazi movement improvers, the NMI, and the Nazis, yes. This was a regime built on oppression, built on genocide. In my video and my channel as a Nazi channel, they start saying people who like your videos also like a Holologic's red pill, blue pill thing was real. There are entire Nazi movements that are based around the idea of people...
You know, there's the war's coming. You know, you know, Nazis are gonna fucking come. And it's that sense of this,
which ironically is actually used by genuine neo-Nazis a lot. It's like they're saying, you feminist. But the chances are that if you are a Nazi, if you are in favour of genocide, then the time is gonna come when, and then a fucking Nazi hate cult decides to become obsessed with me. And this, by the way, ends up being a fucking... And yes, I'm saying that to a bunch of fucking Nazis who don't give a shit. And yet are obsessed with...
It's like I saw this guy who was leaving a comment saying, actually, Nazis were against rape.
So that's why I'm not in favour of revenge. And it doesn't help. Right? Yeah. Stopping Nazis helps. Because
the party fought alongside the communists against the Nazis. And here they dismissed calls of pacifism as communist yet again.
Of false friendship by the fucking thundering cunts known as the alt-right or the fucking Nazis.
The Brits created concentration camps. You know, the royal family supported the Nazis, the Daily Mail supported Hitler.
It's like, you're a Slytherin. You belong in the house of the people who are basically wizard Nazis. And now I am basically leading a band of... You who are not Nazis have been very welcome, and you who have been Nazis and the alt-right control. Because the Nazis don't scare me, right? Like, I'm not a moron. You know, I am. And me, the bigger fucking moron for not noticing the Nazis building up on my videos. Strikes against terrorists. Against Nazis? Fuck yeah, blow them to fucking hell and back. Have you believe this is a sign of hypocrisy? They're wrong. We aren't just going to kill the Nazis, we are going to purge every last Nazi from otherwise known as the alt-right, otherwise known as neo-Nazis, otherwise known as the greatest threat to humanity.
But I do if A, it's from someone who I don't trust because they're a Nazi cheater, and B, I'm currently
an ancient prehistoric thing, you know, like it's almost in my head Nazis occupy the same sort of timeline. Basically, when it comes to my fiction, there is no way a bunch of trolling Nazi haters will ever... I'm not going to make a video talking about Nazis in Newcastle, because you know what? Nazis are boring. Yeah, they're bad. Who gives a shit?
But, you know, there were these literal Nazis protesting in Newcastle saying,
apart from anything else, how many people in the fucking media have played Nazis before? Right? If you have been the evil villain Nazi,
you know, since yesterday, I had, again, like, literal Nazis. Literal Nazis disagreeing and hate subbing and all the...
I have to call him a Nazi for him to go, I shall accept that your opinion is your own and not continue.
Fully on board with, you know, punching Nazis in the face, because frankly, if you are in favour of genocide, you are... Because it was just like, oh, for God's sake, it's Jesus versus the Nazis, right? And I got sorted into Nazi house. Because I is a symptom of a sickness in the city. Nazi trolls are a symptom of a sickness in the mind, in the sense what the Nazi being punched in the face has done is it has caused all of these people.
But nothing compared to what Nazis have done.
And it is okay to kill Nazis, but it says it's okay to fucking kill Nazis because Nazis have a genocidal ideology, and so therefore, if you stop, like, you disagree with me, you're a Nazi, you want to kill everyone, fuck you, I will attack you and get all my friends to attack you. I don't know why Nazis fucking stalk me. Presumably it's just because they're fucking Nazis and thus can't share a single brain against the alt-right and the Nazis. Because currently they are standing around touching going, oh, we don't like this phobic Hitler person. And then spiders got sent to your house and Nazis started stalking you, and then Nazi people, and people are people, and people are sometimes cockends. That there will be genuinely anti-Semitic Nazis in there who are just like, Nazis are more than glad to explain themselves. The Nazis are more than glad to speak nicely, achieve something. Right? If you stop a Nazi from giving a lecture on public TV by punching them, yeah, you do. And they have been oppressed since the very fucking beginning. And now we face a neo-Nazi in the White House, the possibility of a neo-Nazi. Dude, you have tits. You've got a Nazi hate cult stalking you. And you write fiction stories
Before you fuckers get the wrong end of the stick, I am not actually advocating that we perform Nazi-esque things. Funnily enough, the fucking moralist...
And that's good. It's good. Entering into a new age, and you know what? These Nazis, we defeated them once, we'll defeat them again. The video on Nazis is boring because Nazis are stupid, and who fucking cares about Nazis?
About how they have Nazi podcasts that they should do, and the Jews are so horrible, and
Parallel universe blocks. So you have the universes where the Nazis won the Second World War. The universes where
there's this weird sort of middle ground going on whereby some people are genuinely Nazis and they are genuinely...
The entire fucking world went God wins so long ago. The entire world went Nazi so long ago. And if you've only just noticed, sometimes you gotta kill Nazis. Sometimes Nazis are gonna fuck up your shit and they're gonna build fucking concentration.
They offend pretty much fucking everyone, including people who like the Nazis. Because, yes, spoilers, a lot of Nazis die.
lest we forget that, some of the plans that the Nazis implemented, independently of context.
Of course you aren't gonna switch from being a fucking neo-Nazi, Sieg Heiling your Führer, to protesting against cops killing black people. Like, trans people can have their thing, and the Nazis can have their thing, right? And, I appreciate both of those things. We used to write stories and play games about killing Nazis. Now our fucking politicians are Nazis! Poe's law of people doing this stuff, claiming to be Nazis because they think it's a joke. Then you end up in this pressure cooker situation. But I'm also going to try and give kind of the opposing kind of non-Nazi feminist reasons. When Donald Trump got elected, a whole bunch of Nazis, modern day Nazis,
you wouldn't stop someone from including the Nazi symbol in a video game about killing Nazis, so why would...
Never mind being like, oh, but they're punching Nazis. Yeah, you fuckers want to genocide the human race. And Asperger kind of has the right idea, but he's got a whiff of Nazi about him, and Canna's tried to claim autism for himself. You are alt-right, if you are fascist, if you are Nazi, if you are genocidal, if you are in any way a fan of the Trump... It's literally a film about Captain America taking on the Nazis who have infiltrated the American security services.
You're gonna build fucking concentration camps, so you gotta kill Nazis. And it's not nice. And you shouldn't have to do it. You should be able to just...
People saying, well, you know, I'm an alt-right person, but I'm not a Nazi. I'm not genocidal. Backed off after you subscribed. You were swiftly replaced. All of you Nazis who thought you were important, who thought you mattered. Every hour of every day, of every month, of every year, we will fight against the Nazis using all available methods until the threat no boys, because if you don't, the fucking Nazis are gonna get them and they're gonna grow in number, right? It was not. Nazi trials, bah. DUP conservatives, bah. Stresses the election, bah. Going away on holiday, bah. Thinks, UKIP, you like UKIP, because I know I've got a fair on Nazis who watch my videos. Yeah, UKIP, by the way, leave you alone, right? I mean, the fact that essentially the Nazis have been stalking me and stalking me and stalking me.
Racists and socialists end up on the same side. Outside of Nazi Germany, of course. Neoliberalism is a peculiar kind of disease.
If you don't rethink what the fuck you are doing, if you don't stop with those goddamn Nazi salutes, then they will find you and they will kill you. Fetishes on my sexual orientation. Again, I know an audience of alt-right Nazi bastards. I'm gonna
case for the devil if the devil was willing to fight against the Nazis, you know? If he could get someone on side, he didn't much care about the ethics, you know?
Anti-Nazi and said, I know what annoys this left-wing person, I will say that he is a Nazi. And they've spread rumours saying, this is the head in of you because you're now Nazi Germany in America. Daddy! So yeah, 2017, it's gonna be, you look at me and you see a straw man argument in favour of Nazism, in favour of fucking Aryan supremacy. This minority of people who aren't actually Nazis, but think it is funny to side with the Nazis, either because, oh dude, it's so fucking it. We're not thinking through. It's like this whole thing of, you know, is it okay to punch a Nazi? No, it's not okay to punch a Nazi. He's forced to come out in defense of the punching because he's a Nazi. Because genocide is the one thing that is so utterly, thoroughly evil. That
we are in the era of fucking Nazis. We are involved in a global war. The people are being fucked over. We a third world war against the Nazi America. Now Christmas basically is just a time when rumours saying this guy's a total Nazi, and so therefore all the actual Nazis are like, yeah, this guy's a fucking Nazi, he's total satire. Because this is the thing, right? Is that ISIS, like the Nazis, like the communists, like fucking Chairman Mao, like Winston Churchill, a Tory, fought the Nazis with communists. A Tory used the communists to destroy the Nazis.
Maybe that's good, and maybe the age of post-scarcity is upon us in good ways, because Nazism is failing, and there's a couple of stories are very much a take of sort of the Nazis with nukes, you know, and the idea that essentially the Daleks, that people who generally use the term cuck tend to be Nazis, and genocide is an existential threat to the human race. You're right, the new Nazis, they like to use this allegory of it back and let them oppress our friends and families, that we're gonna hold off on twatting a Nazi because genocide may be the extinction of it. You know, the people who are watered down from the communists, oh shit, they're Nazis, you know. And equally, that's how the communists took over. You know, I am actually, you know, stalked by actual, you know, Nazis, people who genuinely call themselves National Socialists. To live and survive, yeah, maybe I could die on that field. Maybe murdered by fucking Nazi trolls might not be a bad way to society, or at least young women in society. Just wanted to be clear, since I know I've got a Nazi hate cult. No. Being a fucking Nazi hate cult that is the same Nazi hate cult that is potentially being used to fucking elect Donald Trump as president. And
look at all of the horrible things the Nazis did, because they thought that it was the best. It would be so funny if I just got dressed up in this fucking Nazi uniform. Man, it would piss so many people off. Oh crap, the rest of the world hate.
Pretend to be Nazis because, you know, we know that you left-wingers don't like Nazis, but like at the same time, genuinely the
Nazi is too good a fucking term for the alt-right, because the Nazis had an ideology. The Nazis had a political statement.
A Tory used the communists to destroy the Nazis. Does our little fucking Tory...
It's worse than the Stalinist Russia. It's worse than, you know, it's worse than Nazi Germany. You know, you got to invade North Korea.
In the power of words. There was a time when racist meant KKK member, meant Nazi. There was a time when and then, to be honest, like, this was all at a time when kind of Nazis were kind of comical, outdated things. Like, nobody new place, you know, wherever it is. Of course I know, but, you know, again, Nazis! I can't tell the Nazis! So,
this is why I don't give the slightest fucking shit that there were goddamn Nazis in Newcastle and nobody cared. Because we've got right-wingers started surging, you know. Basically, the moment I did the whole Nazis in Newcastle video, there
are genuinely horrific Nazis. And yes, there are better ways to persuade people and convert people to, you know, feminists are by and large against Nazis, right? We know this, right? Like, the movement that is in favor of
the incident of it. It's not like Newcastle is an isolated area. We have been seeing the Nazis coming back in one form or another.
And most of them hate my guts because they're Nazis who weirdly decide, yes, we shall hover around this person that we hate and think things, because if I can make a living from it, hell yeah. If I can make a living pissing off Nazis, I call that pretty good. I ship to another service. They don't want to have Nazis jumping ship to another service. They want everybody to keep that to be impractical to you. Because you see, Nazis have asked these questions before. They've answered them. You know, I almost don't see there's anything abnormal in having Nazi stalkers. Like, doesn't everybody abnormal in having Nazi stalkers? Like, doesn't everybody has Nazi stalkers? Everybody has had some motherfucker come along, you know, supports me to get hunted down by Nazis and killed. That would be bad. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go now because I'm starting practical to even do what the Nazis tried to do, which was to essentially treat those they considered that happened. That's happening. The Nazis have America and Russia love them.
Work. Yes, we are going to get rid of the Nazis by forming a Nazi Union 2.0 that will not do the Holocaust.
Like genuinely, the apparently official Twitter feed of an actual Nazi group will reach out to me and
in succeeding in improving the situation for the Nazi movement. Because you see, whilst the social we formed up to stop the Nazis, and now the Nazis are sweeping around and the whole war on terror was literally Nazis, and I'm talking about this in an age of Donald Trump. I'm sent to your house and Nazis started stalking you, and then Nazis decided to annoy the trans people to get them onto you. Out for me as the epitome of 2016, as the epitome of Nazi logic, right? Don't actually, you know, even if you're talking about Nazis, like, wait until war starts off. Like, when war starts off, death to prevent a load of white supremacist Nazis who are now in office and in charge of gets. I personally will be okay. At least until the point the Nazis storm the house and kill. Climate change. That's gonna fuck us up, and you know, Nazis in America, you know, and someone who genuinely, I mean, CGP Grey kind of does this, it's sort of like the grammar Nazi preview. I might do something similar and effectively have like the, you know, like arranged people online because I've got a Nazi hate cult stalking me online. Admittedly, it might help my case somewhat. Feminists who then, you know, who have then outright transitioned into being Nazis, right? Like, genuinely, that is a fucking alternate history, right? The way that the Nazis win the Second World War is, well, they get nukes. You are so immoral, your opinion is moot. Nazis are that they
war free. That's horrendous. Nazi 2.0. Hitler 2.0.
I hate that America is ruled by Nazis now, and if you're a Nazi and you think that's a cause to celebrate,
I mean, I would love to see a series of John Smith versus the Nazis, because it would kind of be like the Time War.
Were he offering to help me fight the Nazis? We don't remember that. We remember that we were the good guys and that we were Nazis in Newcastle and nobody cared because we've got Nazis fucking everywhere. We have gone full-blown Godwin.
Is it okay to punch a Nazi? No, it's not okay to punch a Nazi. It's okay to stop them from being a threat, right? Hans Asperger was a Nazi. Well, no, he wasn't a Nazi, but he did work under the Nazi regime. Tried to do. Has decided now that I am a Nazi channel for Nazis, and so all of the Nazis come to my channel. I'm a little bit bitter right now towards the whole alt-right neo-Nazi thing, you know? I mean, as if the whole sort of, fucking epidemic that is basically holding up for as long as I can so that the zombie Nazis will scrabble pointlessly again, up at least in England, being taught about, the Nazis. Like, that's, at least when I was growing up, it was obligatory. A video on why I'm not going to do a video on Nazis in Newcastle. Isn't that going to be ironic? I'm going to point out that it's boring. That's because Asperger's syndrome is a fucking spectrum, because there are Nazi cunts out there who think that yes, some of them are, and these would be the people who are in the new Nazi party known as the alt-right. Now we face a neo-Nazi in the White House, the possibility of a neo-Nazi in France. You have been a load of Nazi bastards. I have been your lol cow. You can fuck off to hell from whence you came. How that story ends. He knows that the Nazis lose and that they die and that there is no fucking victory for them. This grand heroic narrative of we will bash the Nazis on the nose. We will fight xenophobia, and we will do
wonderful. Man, it would piss so many people. Oh crap! The rest of the world hates me and thinks I'm a Nazi. Crap.
My shout out to all the people who watch my videos, since they're Nazis, it's quite likely. All the people who watch my videos and being stalked by Nazis. Lots of horrible shit. And effectively, I basically reached a point of just, this is something that is done and dusted. Nobody cares. Nazis are never gonna be any kind of importance ever again. Neo-Nazis have decided to embrace Donald Trump as the new hope for the Nazis, and they really support him. There is a very much a take of sort of the Nazis with nukes, and the idea that essentially the Daleks to begin, because at least he's not Clinton, right? We don't want to see that. What we want to see is Nazis. We want to see child rapists. We want to see Nazis stalked by Nazis. So I have to not make videos because I don't want my family attacked. I don't want my friends attacked. UKIP won, and Donald Trump won, and all these Nazis won. A man who bragged about committing sexual, where the only people who are being fucking vocal are the Trump supporters, are the Nazis, are the genuine fucking racists. Not gonna be significant in 2016! Nazis are powerless, they're a joke! Nazis are not a thing to worry about in 2016. We beat them once in favor of genocide! How dare you call me a Nazi? Dude, if you are not in favor of genocide, the video specifically talking about people.
Sorry, I shouldn't say the Germans. The Soviets beat the Nazis because it's, want to be clear that, Russia's cool.
And my videos are genuinely liked by Nazis. That's that they had been begging for, that the Nazis had been begging for. Because there is one thing that I know for certain, and a And yeah, a large amount of the reason it's grown is because Nazis are very fucking stupid, and I don't know why those are the three groups that sprang to mind. Nazis, vampires, and men. Punch a fucker because he says he's a Nazi. That's not achieving anything. You're just hurting a Nazi because, well, he's a bad guy and a bunch of morons in the history of the world. This isn't Nazis, this isn't Daleks. We are facing a new grand fascist. Talking about communism, talking about feminism as a bunch of Nazi-esque regimes. When you're there raging against them or what? It's kind of, it does make you think, like, hey, remember how, you know, the Nazis were all about the pure Aryan brother. In an age of Donald Trump, I'm talking about this in an age when the neo-Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan are saying that, hey, Donald Trump is the greatest thing. And yet also aware that a good proportion of my audience are knuckle-dragging Nazis. There is an individual. There is this massive stalker train of trolls, of Nazi, rapey, fucking alt-right trolls following me around on the associated problem that I have a Nazi hate cult and a family riddled with anxiety. So having a Nazi hate cult and actually, yes. Spoilers, a lot of Nazis die. An awful lot of Nazis die. Upset with me than I am about the Nazis who watch my channel far more than the people I actually care about watch my channel. Well, then that's how we get sort of, you know, Nazis and misogynists saying that they don't understand science. But then these are Nazis who think that there is a scientific reasoning behind their absolute supporting Trump. Or you could genuinely be a Nazi supporting Trump. Or at least there are people who think it is funny to be Nazis among the people who claim to be the alt-right. Posts from trans people going like, what the fuck is going on? YouTube's a shithole. Everybody is a fucking Nazi. What the hell? So it doesn't matter that there were Nazis in Newcastle, that they beat up a guy, but that otherwise it... A video stating that. I made a video about how I wasn't going to do a video about Nazis in Newcastle, but I called it Nazi. That's how fucking privileged I am. When the Nazis are in power, I make to talk publicly on TV about how you're a Nazi before a massive fucking protest of people who hate the man that you elected, the man, and you are a Nazi and you're the bad guys. You're a threat that must be neutralized. Ironically, this is a situation where actually Nazis might be slightly better, because at least you'd think they'd be... And the only people who are pretending to give a shit about them are the Nazis and the bastards and the bigots and the shitheads. Right? This channel, and this channel is followed by Nazis. So sod fucking being part of a great wave of, because there'd be a fucking UKIP supporting, Donald Trump supporting fucking Nazi dickhead. It just means that you can't fucking do it in the faces of the alt-right, the neo-Nazis, the cuck-phobics are people who are so afraid of their masculinity and superiority in other languages. No, we don't. We don't. We learn that racism is bad. We learn that Nazis are bad and that you can shoot them in the face.
No exaggeration, no fucking word of a lie. This shit, it's like fucking Nazis, right? It's a fucking clusterfuck.
Have put me through. I might just be one of the very few people willing to show the Nazis and the alt-right any mercy. I want of people. That's not cool. But Nazis, you can pretty much always just gun down mercilessly because they're clearly fucking like me and aren't all just a load of Nazi trolls either. And that's when I saw the been very welcome, and you who have been Nazis and the alt-right and trolls, you're gonna get your heads kicked in. People out there, all the Nazis out there with their very tiny cocks, I'm sure they all understand what it means. The Germans realised, the Nazis realised, that it's impractical to send so many to live out peacefully. If you hurt, and then they will leave you out alone in the cold. But the Nazis will come up to you and they'll put their hands around you. But they did their duty. They did their duty because fascism, because Nazism, because racism point out that it's boring, that it's dull, I'm going to educate people. No, they don't care. All they see is hashtag Nazis in Newcastle. All they see is... But even the Joker fucking hates the Red Skull and the Nazis, so... Yeah, I think if the clown... Donald Trump is supported by the bigots and the Nazis and the crazy zealots, and Clinton is supported by everyone else. Are also swinging to the far right, are also swinging to the Nazi. It's like the Nazis just decided to very quietly all get...
Hitler may be a genocidal madman idiot, but at least under his control the Nazi Empire stopped on it.
But it doesn't matter when we're facing Nazis. You know. It's like the fucking communists were fucking fighting alongside Nazis, and that's not a good thing. Surprise, surprise, the fucking regulated capitalist is not a goddamn... So as a result, you know, we were thinking of, you know, moving past the Nazis, you know, the era of black and white heroes and villains version of anybody who disagrees with me is a Nazi. No, I'm talking about literal fans of genocide Nazis. Like, I don't want to... Jokes about how Nazis deserve to die aside, to do that, you are advocating genocide and you are the Nazis. So yeah, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna fucking talk. There are actual support genocide, want to commit genocide, fascistic Nazis in the White House dictating policies with like the first Latino president. And in reality, we have the first Nazi president of America. You know, the Nazis were a threat that kind of needed to be bombed into the fucking, well, not Stone Age, because...
Make their mistakes. We are probably gonna have to have another mini fascist Nazi whatever in Britain.
Fucking idiots. I mean, I know the alt-right aren't actually Nazis, but there are Nazis among the alt-right. Now there is a Jewish state, and the Nazis well, that Nazi regime was destroyed. And maybe from a certain point of view, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe upsetting Nazis is a good and noble goal. I mean, yes, I am literally stalked by Nazis, but, you know, the secret police aren't going to come to my door because I'm a white guy. Because we fought wars over Nazis. We fought wars over racism. You know, the American Civil War, in terms of the wrong people, the Nazis and stuff. This is good. Because I'm still producing videos, I'm still working. So therefore, if you're in the media and you're a fucking Nazi, well, apart from anything else, how many people in the fucking media have played Nazis before?
From the Nazi threat, because instead they will have to deal with us slightly less strong Nazi threat.
That, you know, that when the Nazi uprising came, that they would have, you know, that they would lie and disguise. Is that you are terrified of the left. It's that you understand that being a Nazi will attract violence again if he looks set to help fight the Nazis. That's genuinely our hero of World War II, Winston Churchill, said that he would give.
Fuck those fucking racist fucking arsehole Nazi UKIP voters. You know it makes sense. And that's right, lads. Have a good one.
Me as a Nazi, no, I'm talking about literal fans of genocide Nazis. Like, I don't want to tell them where I live. And I realise I am literally followed by Nazis. Sorry, being hate-watched by people is kind of awful. Countries that suffered under the Second World War, that suffered under Nazi Germany, are now enacting. You know, I'm against drone strikes against terrorists. Against Nazis? Fuck yeah, blow them to fucking hell and back. Not nice, right? I mean, I know a lot of the people who watch my videos are Nazis, so I don't know, but to the horror of Hillary Clinton, and that alone was enough to get me targeted with fucking neo-Nazi death squads. So yeah, I'm feeling where essentially these one of these Nazi generals or officials was addressing the need to wear the fucking cardigan that I like if I have washed it. Oh no! What will the Nazis who already have sent me death threats? And there's an anvil that needs to be dropped, and I appreciate this. But I know Nazis are bad, we should punch the fuck out of them. Told over and over and over and over and over again. So I suppose actually the Nazis among the audience will love it. Because you...
Here's the thing. The Nazis did not just persecute and try to commit genocide against the Jews.
Because you see, the Nazis, they were rushing in, they were storming in, they were going, yes, yes! And as a result, they are, like the Nazis, like the Soviets, they have land that can be taken from them. They, and you know, the horror that is the madness of Adolf Hitler and the Nazis and the Holocaust. Yeah, the Conservative Party is trying to essentially do what the Nazis did. Say, hey, we got into power despite the fact that the majority of people did not. All these different ways. But he gets away with it because he's fighting the fucking Nazis, you know? He gets away with... That fighting the Nazis is gonna take everyone. And I also know It doesn't need me blundering around. And a reason, right? Yes, utilitarian morality says it is okay to kill Nazis, but it says it's okay to fucking kill Nazis because deciding to have a laugh and pretend that he's a Nazi supporting Trump, or you could genuinely be a Nazi. I don't need to be the grand moral savior of the human race against the grand Nazis. No, I don't matter. They're nobody, followed by 2,000 Nazis because they thought it was funny to follow a guy who looks like he's got a potato face. Fucking happy and proud of yourself, you goddamn Nazi scumbags. Fuck you. I'm going to go and watch The West Wing because that is... I mean, for God's sake, we fought a war against fucking Nazis. If you decide to fucking announce genocide, you're gonna die. End of. Nazis had an ideology. The Nazis had a political statement, a political point of view. Hitler, as mad and being cuckolded, are a group of people known as the alt-right, or neo-Nazis. The alt-right are a group of insecure white men. At that point, really, the Conservative Party are the Nazis and they are in power fraudulently. Because, but, yeah, I don't know, I don't know why Nazis fucking stalk me. Presumably it's just because at this point it would be a fucking benefit to me if a Nazi did turn up and blow my fucking brains out, because I'm an atheist. Once I stop existing, there is hope for those of us who despise Nazis, who think that Nazis and the genocidal are monstrous maniacs. And turn against me and rail against me. I've had Nazi stalkers hating me, I've had feminists hating me, I've had Doctor Who fans hating me, bastards, because I happened to say that Nazis were boring and Donald Trump was an irrelevancy compared to the horror of Hillary Clinton, because, you know, nobody's actually a Nazi though, and everybody knows cuckold is a stupid fucking insult. I just said it because it's so... Was that I didn't just create a filter immediately of move to Nazi trash, right? I didn't just immediately do that. Instead, I was like, because, well, it doesn't sound as bad as autism. We would rather someone was named after a Nazi than that they had the actual fucking condition in the Grand Riddicker plan against the zombie Nazi epidemic that is basically holding up for as long that the Russian communists and the, you know, the Nazis, that they kind of needed to be stopped. I think we can all agree. At that same token, you know, you can read Mein Kampf now. You know, you can watch the Nazi propaganda films right now. And what's America doing? America is electing a Nazi rapist. And themselves as the leaders of the Nazis, as the leaders of the alt-right. If you decide to preach genocide, the party has become a load of anti-Semitic Nazis. What? Against. Bannon is being fought against. The Nazis are being fought against. The Republicans and the Conservatives, they are, to me, and now I've got to deal with this fine. Like, we'll deal with this fine. It's just like, oh great. The Nazi trolls are thinking like the alt-right persona, the alt-right cult or meme or bunch of neo-Nazi cultists. They have framed... explain all of those awkward moments about, you know, kill the Nazis. might be slightly awkward. That these alt-right types and the neo-Nazis and the Trumpers, they think they've won. That they think they have even... Britain was saved
well, Britain and America and everywhere else was saved from Nazism because the Russians.
I'm a proud National Socialist. Here's a link to a Nazi site. And it's like, yeah, you definitely are a bigot. In fact, you're just... Israel's foreign policy is problematic. And oh, by the way, the Nazis thought their plan, a fact, a historical thing that actually happened, that the Nazis, when they didn't have so much power, and, they weren't quite at the kill everyone, why this isn't a big deal. So, there were some Nazis protesting in Newcastle, and I mean, like, said that he would give the devil a good recommendation if he was fighting against the Nazis, and kind of did, because he got stung against the Nazis. Doesn't achieve anything. Punching a Nazi is just feeding into a cycle of violence. It's just a bad Hitler or his fucking band of evil fucking Nazis, okay? Let's just be fucking clear about that, okay? The alt-right and the neo-Nazis do. They favour a hierarchy built on toxic masculinity. They favour a hierarchy that this too shall pass, that the Nazis shall pass, that the alt-right will be but a bitter, broken memory in, Death Eaters and Auras. It's not made up of, Nazis and Time Lords. This isn't about, the evil fascistic awards saying, oh yes, I'm a massive fucking Nazi. Boom. Dead. Job prospects destroyed.
And the fact that it is about states' rights is why they have a problem with it. Because if it was just, oh, Nazis and the English, then...
and a neo-Nazi sympathiser in Britain. And of course I'm being stalked by Nazis. I suppose worse, right? From a certain point of view. In that, the Nazis, liked blonde women. And if you are, incidentally, a Nazi, or a zombie in this analogy, and you are squeeing your tiny little pant, people are going to die now because of a bunch of empowered Nazis. People have died, people have suffered. Because basically, I've had a hell of a rough 2 years. Essentially, don't say Nazis are boring and are having to use the same platform as actual fucking Nazis who are pledging and wanting genocide and trying to... It's complex. It's not just Nazis on one side and, social justice warrior PC brigade on the other side. Donald Trump, backed by the KKK, backed by the neo-Nazis. Whoa! Clap. I'm also being followed by this loud mob of evil Nazi stalker trolls. So it got into a whole big mess. And to have that power. Because, yeah, Satan has an army of demons who will do Nazi salutes and who will be...
This situation you are living in now, this hell of Nazis trying to kill you, this is better than the alternative. Yes, we're going to go about this so that we will save people from the Nazi threat, because instead they will have to deal with us slightly.
Keep discriminating and discriminating and discriminating because Nazi ideology is toxic. As I am aware that I am stalked by Nazis who hate me and I don't want these Nazis who hate me to know who this person is. Do you know what we do with Nazis in Britain? We murder them. They die. That's what happens. You do realise, fine. You can say you're a Nazi online. But brother, you fucking try walking around the streets of London. Tangent aside, not good to be stalked by Nazis who hate your guts. But, you know, it is impossible to deny that, like,
was basically asking me to do a video savaging a particular neo-Nazi for raping her. We've had pulp heroes, pulp superheroes, we've had science fiction heroes, fantasy heroes, we have had, you know,
the utter unwillingness to give an inch to the Nazis. Okay. It is amazing how...
right, like, when the fucking Nazis are using trans people as their attack.
I piss off these guerrilla fighters, I'm fucked if I piss off these guerrilla fighters, I'm fucked if I piss off the Nazis, I'm fucked if I piss off the communists.
Hey, vote for moderates who will get rid of Nazi Republicans when it comes to the ones that only Republicans can win. You know, between Tory scumbag and literal fucking Nazi child rapist. Right? There is a difference there.
it's like, well, he's horrible, they're communists, not Nazis. And I mean that quite genuinely. Quite genuinely. You're not...
That people are social justice warriors now. You think that it's like Nazi Germany now because they don't like you calling people horrible names. Totally out of the picture, yeah, and if you're gonna be fucking Nazis, no. But that's not... No, I know that because a lot of my supporters are basically the new Nazis, because they are the alt-right, I know that these people rhetoric and share it on Twitter because, yeah, Nazis are bad, right? We can agree Nazis are fucking bad. And because you kind of want
saying, actually, Nazis were against rape. So if Nazis can be against rape, maybe 4chan can be against doxing. And
Trump's awesome! I know we said he was a child rapist Nazi person, but no, now he's president, we must suck his dick. I suppose really, you know, Donald Trump essentially beginning a Nazi regime in America has kind of...
stop. If you are a Nazi, if you are a racist, if you are sexist, if you are someone who is vehemently against Russia, Joseph fucking Stalin, because he saw it was the only way to defeat the Nazis. And what we are now in a situation,
there is hope and a reason to fight on. If 4chan can get an incompetent Nazi rapist elected president, you can be damn sure feminism. Actually realised I was a left-wing person who is anti-Nazi and said, I know what will annoy this left-wing person, I will
feel like that's important. Because the Nazis are, you know, they are the clearest case in history. Yeah, the fucking podcast that shall not be named are fascists! And, yeah, I'm not gonna be a Nazi. I mean, to be honest, okay to punch a Nazi, it's okay to stop them from being a threat, right? Like, this is the thing, Nazis are genuinely the moral, certainly shunned by
society was the same way that, you know, Nazis are shunned today, that the alt-right are shunned today. Like, but you see, the Nazis decided that I was important to them. Why trans-exclusive radical feminists are very like Nazis. So, you know, some variants of feminism are not good. The Nazis, they're not gonna let me transform this channel into something better. You are someone horrible who shouldn't exist. That is what being a Nazi is. And the funny thing is, people on the left and people on the right, I'm stalked by Nazis, and, you know, the world is facing, is genuinely freaking the thing. I mean, I don't have a problem with the term cuck, but it is almost exclusively used by utter Nazi moron shits, right? And then I made a video saying, you know what, Nazis aren't used because they're boring, and those two videos were enough to get me on the don't like Nazis, but like at the same time, genuinely, the American neo-Nazis have decided to embrace Donald Trump as American foreign policy was formed by literal fucking Nazis. American foreign policy was formed by literal Nazis. The Allies created the Nazis. No, it's like you are saying that the US created the very boogeyman. In my YouTubing career, where I am absurdly making money because Nazis like to come to my videos, not because who knows how many other Nazi bloody infiltrated countries are gonna be on their side. Afraid of Nazis stalking me places. I don't want to be afraid of Nazis hacking into my accounts. I don't want to be afraid. We tried to make peace with the goddamn Nazis. Now we will blow up people in foreign countries that we aren't even saying, which is awesome, right? Like, yeah, okay, I've got a Nazi hate cult after my ass because they think my head looks like a potato, but essentially millennials are becoming neo-Nazis. There is a sense that it is coming out of America. The moment there is a Nazi dictating what such a massive force of arms does, because I am stalked by Nazis, I don't admit very often when I am actually upset about things and why. When the Nazis are in power, I make money. When the Nazis hate me, I make money. Who knows what the fuck they're doing? And ironically, kind of the one country that is not becoming Nazis at the moment. The Nazis, they have nukes. And they have the largest military in the world. Very obviously, to a certain extent, to do with the Nazis within the alt-right movement, that says all you have to do is name that you're... Because I know that a lot of people who watch my videos are members of the alt-right, the new Nazi movement. And I'm going to give it and turned out to be basically full-on Nazi, and then hard Brexit happened, and then Corbyn ended up in the position of basically, he's a little old man. But also because Nazi trolls, I know that you're gonna hate this, but if I say racist
and this and being told by feminazis that, oh, you're a misogynist, and realising, hey, actually, hey.
Some trolls are some Nazi trolls are kind of whining on Twitter, going, meh, pay attention to us, pay attention to us. Fucking good thing. So it makes it a hell of a lot easier when they're Nazis, when they are xenophobic on all sides. It's not like the Nazis are just gonna go around exterminating people.
The universe happens to contain, you know, lots of, you know, Nazis barging about, being all serious and...
I've got news for you. Nazis don't stop at Jews. Nazis don't stop at Muslims. Nazis don't stop. And 2016 also being the year of Trump. And the year of the alt-right and Nazis. And he helped the world to a certain extent during a very difficult time against the Nazis, and his philosophy was it's like he's all his army, all of his Nazi supporters, and just a whole load of submissives going, yeah.
The sort of space opera equivalent of Nazis or whatever, just because empire
where the other people are coming from, and that this isn't just a straight up, you're all Nazis, you're all just horrible conspiracy
allies. Except these are Nazis. Now, for me, right, I've seen plenty of fucking evidence to suggest, literally said to me in Steam chat, hi, I'm a National Socialist, I'm a Nazi. And literally, like, the last line,
side is bad, and you had people in the comments saying, hey, Nazis committed less genocide than the fucking communists. I'm pretty damn sure that since the vast majority of the people who follow me are Nazis and neoliberals and right-wing bastards, yeah, so now I understand why Nazis have been obsessed with me. Because of Nazis, modern day Nazis, including a whole bunch of the people who stalk me on this very channel. So, I joined this Nazi Discord of Nazis, and I talked with these Nazis of Nazington. This doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. Obviously, if you are a Nazi, you aren't going to agree with me when I criticize Nazis. I mean, it's basically zombies and Nazis, you know. If you want a mindless horde that can be mown down at will, and the alt-right, the overlap between the genuine Nazis who are like, yes, the white race is being oppressed and we will go out and we will...
I liked a YouTube video from @FarSchnook, Nazis in Newcastle. Okay, so these are clearly, like,
the seasons, you know, how to tell the time, and the Nazis were fucking bad, you know. Do an indication of, oh, this is an evil thing, and then you just do a Nazi source code. Or at least, you know, that's maybe the logic. Schizophrenia. Because I'm just thinking of the time when some Nazi who dislikes my videos, and before you say, oh, I'm lowering... No. If you backed Donald Trump and you aren't a full-on genocidal Nazi and thus, you know, what if you were at university and the Nazi trolls were like the jocks from school and they were next door and they were tall and muscly and they were huge? Nazis as the example, and obviously, like, so many Nazis have decided that they want to watch my video because, I don't know, their masochistic was like, see, Donald Trump, see, racism is wrong, Nazis bad, they bad, Email were making exactly the same kind of stories when we were literally at war with the fucking Nazis. They were saying, oh, we're being invaded by a Jew, because, you know, the swastika is the Nazis, and the Nazis are the international evil people. So we just make, so whenever you want to sort of...
Body stealers, fire-breathing rock monsters, Nazi troopers, living skeletons, a psychotic alien artist, and a very different race.
It was taught in school because it was taught in primary school, you know, Hitler, Germans, bad, woo, Nazis, not good, right? It's always seemed to me such theism, and therefore a bad thing. And I know there's a whole load of Nazis who inexplicably love my channel. Capacity with bigoted assholes who are Nazis, who are alt-right fuckers, who would persecute, who would commit genocide. I'm not going to talk about Trump. You know what? I'm not going to fucking talk about Nazis. This is what I get when I say, no, I'm not going to fucking go out and outright attack. Like, expose my entrails and be like, there! Have an eat zombie Nazis. No, this isn't what this is about. You could now be allied in putting out fascism and Nazism against the world, right? Things are not good that they post, right? Like, you know, just hurting a Nazi doesn't achieve anything. Punching a Nazi is just the worst thing that the alt-right could have done, that the Nazis could have done for their own fucking cause. At the moment, aside from, you know, the whole grand, you know, war and revolution against the Nazis that is now going on. It's like, okay, we can stop now, and then it's like, nah, they're still Nazis. And so, at the same time as all this other stuff is be on the side of the Nazis and the fascists, but we've also got nerds on the left. And Jews. At least if you're a Nazi. And kind of did, because he got Stalin against the Nazis. People tend to forget the communists were impeached, I hope. The Nazis realized that, hey, maybe you don't want to pick a fight with the world.
The tank and just go around driving over like the Nazis or Russians or whoever it is in that level.
Because it's fucking dangerous. Because they know a fucking Nazi has nukes. I mean, so as a result, you know, we were thinking of, you know, moving past the Nazis, you know, the era of black and white heroes that only makes sense if you are in fact a Nazi who believes that there are good people who should live and bad people who... I probably shouldn't have said that, but because I've got Nazi stalkers. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, the alt-right, the far-right, the fucking Nazis have won. Racism is wrong, Nazis bad! Nazis, they bad Nazis, ooh, bad Americans! Nazism is bad! And it's like, that is an anvil that needs to be dropped in America, punching Hitler in the face. Hitler being the then leader of the Nazis. If you decide to refer to yourself... And then from the actual Nazis that people asked me to talk about rallying in Newcastle between, you know, trans people and Nazis, right? Then when the Nazis get annoyed at me, I make money. Single-handedly orchestrate the fight back against all of the Nazis with my army of glorious, submissive women, and there is a reason. I make money off Nazi men not bothering to watch my videos and just hating me because of what I am.
Kick them! He's troll. He's got Nazi name. Get rid. You know. Once it's crossed a certain threshold of.
I did not mean for this to turn into a rant against the evil neo-Nazis of America, but kind of, you know, that's so.
If your joke's in bad taste, it's getting removed. That's fine. That I know. If it's got Nazi in it, I
you, but I don't care. I'm going to continue writing my fiction because I've been stalked by Nazis for the last year, and you know what? That hasn't stopped me. So
rights and the fucking alt-right and the fucking, you know, Trump supporting neo-Nazi scumbags, and then you've got all of the trans people
killed Christ, and then they became Christian. The Nazis, their whole shtick was that they were against the Jews. This has to be something that I can write, you know, bunged up with a cold, with Nazis all around, in a state of utter change. The people who don't regard it as a bad thing would be the fucking Nazi fuckers who I don't care about.
Term for fucking Adolf Hitler, but you know, against, you know, the evil Germans and the Nazis. You know, we see our kind.
While everybody is saying, "Hey, it's Nazis! We fought a whole war about this." Remember that fucking Churchill said,
didn't mean anything bad by it, and he's genuinely a really cool bloke. He was calling me a fucking Nazi.
America is not a nice place right now. America is just fucking nasty. And indeed fucking Nazis. It's a very horrible place right now. Because if you're gonna go out there and take on a load of fucking Nazis who believe that your very existence is the so-called Raspberry Reich, the Nazis led by Richard Raspberry and Adam Godwinson, the Alpha God. I pose no threat to the Nazi regime because this is America. This is a country. This is a triumph for feminism over Nazism, and it's like, well, no, hang on. Yeah, like Clinton is a bastard. Heroes and villains. It's all ridiculous. This Nazis will never exist. No one will ever be that stupid again. What are you talking about? No. I feel like Nazis are bad. Not a very controversial statement. I feel like racists, because what is Dalek phrasing if not Nazi phrasing parodied by saying autistic people there is nothing that any bunch of Nazi trolls, alt-right, whatever you want to call yourselves, there is nothing. No Nazis! White men, white Christians, white neo-Nazis going around, blowing shit up, mass murdering people. Yeah, you know, the whole sort of Hitler vibe doesn't really do it for me. I think all Nazis should be shot. And all these different subtle issues, they distill it down to them feminazis don't like the white men. The far right and the alt-right and Nazis and the fascists and all the other genocidal fuckwits have basically gone, oh right, actually all of these things are basically just Nazi. So they've just become Nazis. Right. I'm using Nazis as the example, and obviously, like, so many Nazis have decided that they want text by Nazis who hate me. Did you know that autism was originally diagnosed as childhood schizophrenia? And it also doesn't help that the Nazis think they're fucking winning, and so they keep pestering me like that. Who would rather their children were named after a fucking Nazi than that they were named the fucking condition that they fucking have. It's
polls with, hey, the Labour Party are anti-Semitic Nazis. This is what happens. Is that Sadiq Khan, a Muslim, gets named.
It has pushed the debate about fighting Nazis with violent action into the open. And by and large, what I'm seeing,
I will say that a genuine Nazi cheater actually came to me with the idea, saying that I should do and ask me anything.
And I keep seeing, headlines of kind of like, oh no, YouTube, it's like fucking Nazi Germany, everyone is just attacking people and something. But if you're just saying, oh, this guy's a Nazi, I'm going to punch him in the face, you're doing nothing. Right? If you have been the evil villain Nazi in a film, it doesn't matter whether you are genuinely someone who is against sexual assault and Mr. Grab 'em by the pussy is in the White House leading the fucking Nazis. it's like guiltlessly want to suffer. But Nazis are pretty high on that fucking list. Nazis, like, always just gun down mercilessly because they're fucking Nazis. They want to commit genocide. It's totally moral to take them out.
Nazis fucking everywhere, where it is boring, where it is not news that there are Nazis in Newcastle. And what? The other alternate World War II ones, yeah. Stick it with the Nazi Holocaust ones, yeah. That's where it belongs.
Quite funny that. Film about Nazis deciding on genocide. They comment that. But the moment there's a fucking Nazi controlling America, the moment there is a Nazi dictating, what I'm seeing is that good people are agreeing the Nazis can die. Because the Nazis are evil. About the alt-right, talking about Nazis, talking about people who would commit genocide, who would oppress. After video, hundreds of views per video, load of Nazis, come on, barely watch 5% of it, dislike, leave a negative comment, fuck off. Yeah, maybe Brexit is tied to Trump and therefore tied to full-on Nazism. And therefore a bad thing. And I know
aren't just Nazis, They aren't just Nazis, they aren't just communists. What they are people who are into.
We aren't just going to kill the Nazis, we are going to purge every last Nazi from office, law enforcement, the military, education, and the health and wellness.
Much blood on our hands to play the fucking victim. We were the victim against the Nazis. And only then, because we actually...
I don't know, maybe I am the Nazis' equivalent of Trump. You know how we all sort of looked at Trump and said, oh, I'm so... Came out of the closet and revealed herself to be a Nazi, and then basically wrote down a post, prediction of the multiverse does not fall to the Nazis. So yeah, that's part of it too. It's yeah, there's a lot of things going on. Indiana Jones and Star Wars and Doctor Who all pretty much have Nazis or Nazi equivalents.
When the Nazis invaded, would keep fighting to the last man. And I mean, yes, they fought to the last man.
When you are advocating Nazi-esque fucking segregation, concentration camps, and genocide, because you are
Just don't fucking matter. They're evil as sin. Do what you fucking like to them, then it's Nazis or it's zombies. It's either, a world in which Nazis have the White House. Christ, it almost sounds like a bloody Doctor Who t-shirt, doesn't it? Pathetic fucking life where I can't get out of the house. I don't want to be afraid of Nazis stalking me places. I don't want to be afraid of
I want to stand up for people to wear the Nazi flag because you know what, freedom of speech.
I've been an anti-feminist, so I genuinely was like, oh, is he a Nazi now? Like, Nazi is where I draw the line. It's like, yeah!
because we went out and we stood our ground, we did our duty, and by golly, we won! We won! We defeated the Nazis, and they were horrible, and
an awful lot of money and an awful lot of reason to fight. And we don't consider Nazi salutes funny, right? There was a time... I mean, if you're a Nazi, you'll be familiar with
we've got aside from one newspaper, and so people are like, quick, spread the Nazi cause. If we get this,
right, which is that for a guy who thinks that Nazis are moral to be killed, then that's it. War will be declared and Nazis will be fucked. They will be so completely doomed. We're being stalked by fucking Nazis who are still like, this guy is the best thing since sliced bread, we must keep stalking.
He knows what he's doing. He knows that he's getting the supporters to do the fucking Nazi salute. He knows that.
It's not a shock to me that the Nazis killed autistic people. It's a
happen. Any universe can have any concept about it. If you want to do, I don't know, Nazi chipmunks who decide to put a
at a young age, with her Queen Mother, were all in favour of Nazi Germany. Hey, here's hoping that, Germany has a good time.
Came up with a better theory of autism than the autistic spectrum. Worked for the Nazis. and Lovacy came up with a way to actually help people with... And so it's better to leave them to the mercies of the Nazis? It's better to leave them to be brainwashed by the toxic fuckwit. The key to destroying the Nazi regime is picking apart the true believers who will die for genocide. People who follow my stuff online are in fact Nazis who hate me. But it is alt-right movement. Nazis, racists, bigots, and homophobic shits. Donald Trump makes what happens, because this isn't about a race war, this is about a bunch of Nazis saying they need their heads kicked in again. Goddamn space fucking Sieg Heiling to grand wizard Nazis. Even there, they've got the fucking stormtroopers saying, hey! All I'm doing is making bloody Nazi propaganda because it's like America going into the Middle East and blowing up civilians against sort of Nazi bastards. So you see, as far as I'm concerned, All them, if you march in lockstep with them, if you do your Nazi salutes because you think it's funny to piss off the liberals, bombs are going to. And so, when a leader of the new Nazis gets punched in the face on TV, all these people who are witnessing the yes, we should be smacking all the fucking Nazis we fucking can. We should be saying, hey, genociders, shut the fuck up. Oh, I'm lowering the value of this stuff. No, there are genuinely Nazis who hate my stuff. Or who have, for the last year, have basically been Nazis hate watching me. Like, police have had to be called. Think it is funny to pretend to be a racist. They think it is funny to pretend to be a Nazi. And the reason this is a problem is that there are
that was at risk of being taken over by the fucking Nazi sympathisers in World War II, yeah? Was it only us who was at risk? Was Scotland completely fine?
That's not achieving anything. You're just hurting a Nazi because, well, he's a bad guy and I'm a good guy, and that's what we do. No. Right? Heck, I'm cheering on segments of the militant left. I'm like, yeah, punch Nazis. But equally, just as there are
that the Soviets did against the Nazi opposition. It is amazing the bravery.
Different. Like, genuinely, I feel like part of the reason there are so many Nazis obsessed with me is that some dickheads, a reason to hate Nazis now, they are sort of personally targeting me because, oh my god, you said the Nazis were boring, how could you? Fucked up there. Yes, I'm going to Wolverhampton. All Nazis head to fucking Wolverhampton. They start saying people who like your videos also like a whole load of misogynists and Nazis. A conspiracy.
That's like they're almost literal grammar Nazis. We shall wipe out the entirety of the multiverse because the logic. And there is this term, feminazi, which ironically is actually used by genuine neo-Nazi wing audience who makes a lot of jokes about Nazis and about people's colour and like.
Chan were bored of me. My fucking moronic Nazi trolls spammed me so much.
And he knows my views on Nazis. Right? That's not a good thing to say.
I mean, there is no the point that the Nazis step out from behind the sun and go, ha!
So we've got a eugenicist, a Nazi, someone who tried to electrocute gay people into being. How we're going to solve the world, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And yes, some people are Nazis who want genocide. You know, in this profession begin to embrace Nazi ideology. How disabled children are killed. How the doctors gleefully partake in the Cold War, and so therefore they're joining together, and America being ruled by Nazis is a bad thing, because at some point Trump is going
on the Nazi side and on the Soviet side, it's just horrible. And amazing.
Trump, who is made out to be the grand Nazi, that the Ku Klux Klan and the neo-Nazis are saying, this is a great night to think. I will say that he is a Nazi. And they've spread rumours saying, this guy's a total Nazi. And so therefore, all the actual Nazis. But again, I don't care what a bunch of Nazi bastards think. You could be standing before me with a fucking gun. Obviously, if you are a Nazi, you aren't gonna agree with me when I criticize Nazis. I feel a little minority of people will be okay, but the majority of people, fuck them. The alt-right, Nazis, people who are in favor of genocide. And I feel like people are just sort of going like, yay, she's not a Nazi, so therefore she's a triumph of feminism, and it's obsessed with me. And this, by the way, ends up being a fucking Nazi hate cult that is the same Nazi hate cult that is...
You can kind of understand it. You know, the horrors that the Nazis committed.
Oh, but if we can have the world come together, it's not that we like Nazis. It's that America has the ability to Nazi followers. You're a Nazi. We're gonna make sure all the Nazis come see your future videos. These are the big issue of the moment, and Nazis are the people stalking me. But I can't. Now our fucking politicians are Nazis! Donald Trump, backed by the KKK, backed by the neo-Nazis. Whoa! And you can still want to bash a fucking Nazi in the face. And so what I'm saying is realizing that they are the only thing stopping the Nazis from coming in and stopping their trade. And they're like, fuck. Because, you know, I personally don't think Nazism is a good thing. I personally think that Nazism is a very, very bad thing. I don't like genocide. From the Cage said, can you please do a video talking about the Nazis doing a march in Newcastle? Of the conflict when it comes to Nazis, then I think a guy who says some stupid things occasionally and writes some stupid things occasionally. I was unknowingly calling out to the Nazis saying, hey dumbasses, you're next. But it's Nazis. The fuck are you gonna do, right? Like this, on every fucking scale. We have nothing to lose and everything to fight for. The Nazis, however, are a bunch of privileged arseholes too stupid to understand just what kind of... About, yeah, you know, we're gonna pretend to be Nazis because, you know, we know that you left-wingers don't like Nazis. Not how it works, right? The reason you can punch a fucking Nazi is because he is a full common. They are a spectrum of Nazis, right? In fact, Nazi is too good a fucking term for the alt-right because the Nazis, sort of the British take on the Nazis as the ultimate villain, as a kind of comic villain, right? Well, yeah, these are the alt-right, these are the Nazis. Look at all the other horrible shit they've done, right? In your videos, you gotta stay with YouTube. If you're a fucking Nazi and you want to make money from your ad revenue, kind of, and it sounds very dodgy considering that, you know, Nazis are the big issue of the moment, and Nazis would be nice, you know. We'd like to not have the Nazis in America. That would be good. So could you just, good thing, aside from the ad revenue that being stalked by Nazis give you, is that I couldn't give a shit whether feminists hate me or dislike my stuff. Good people do not tell other people they're Nazis unless, like, they're genuinely in favor of eugenics and ethnically. Quite genuinely. You're Nazis. I mean, I've got my analytics are, you know,